Good morning and welcome to window box cards. They're not really cards though, they're window boxes. They look like these and we're going to cut windows in them. So first thing I wanted to show though is if you've not been in one of my classes before or you've been and you just didn't notice, all of my classes come with a whisper. And a whisper is basically my notes on what I talked about in class, the important details that I want you to remember. Yeah, the name was because it sounded cool 10 years ago when I named them. But pretty much they are like I'm sitting next to you whispering the details in your ear. Remember we said to do that's what's in a whisper. So they come in two different formats in the classroom. So if you go into your classroom, which is always if you go to Kara Miller and then click classroom, you will find it and find the class that we're talking about today, which is right here. And you're going to scroll down and you will get to the information. There's two different notes. One is just basic information about the big shot. It's the same one that I did the other night in a live presentation, if you saw that. It's the whisper that goes with that. So it just gives you basic how to set your sandwiches up for your big shot, that kind of thing. And then this is the one for today, which is using the window box set. And it shows you the details on how to do it. If you scroll down a little bit, and that's 12 pages, but that would take up a lot of ink and a lot of paper. So you don't necessarily want to print that one. You can, but if you scroll page and that print is only 3 pages. You're going to take that, cut it in fourths, and then make yourself a neat little cheat sheet, a neat little notebook that has all the basics about what we're doing today. Susan asked the question, do you have trouble with your sandwich plates warping? I do. One idea that you can do is just flip them the other way if they start to turn. Let me show you what I have. I have an extra set because you can buy new ones. It won't really hurt anything, and you can flip it over this way and kind of keep it trying to straighten it a little bit. But yes, they will warp. Yep. Oh, Mort's outside playing. I guess I can't have the window open. Although we're still hearing, but it won't be quite so loud. Okay, so let me switch to the other camera and stop sharing the screen. Hey, Jamila. Who else came in while I wasn't paying attention? Hey, Lori. And we're going to switch to that one. Okay. I was just running through what to do with the whispers in case you forgot or you haven't seen them in a while. This is the printable version of today's whisper. It just makes it smaller so it doesn't take up as much paper. And if you cut it, let me just trim it over here. And then line them all up. You're going to cut it at 4 1/4. No, you're not. 5 1/2. We're going the long way. So 5 1/2 this one. Move you over, you can actually see. And then now 4 1/4 this way. And then I'll show you how to put them in order so that you don't get them messed up. They do have the page number, but it's tiny, tiny. And I can't really get it to be larger. So I'll show you how to put them together. I just wanted to take a minute and do this because we haven't done it in forever. Okay, so this is exactly the way we cut it out. And I'm just going to start picking up pieces. Now you can print it on cardstock if you want. the ones that I used to way back in the day before digital was digital, I used to sell these in physical format. I have cut a lot of whisper in my day. When you get them all done, you can either punch a hole and put them on a ring, or you can, if you just do them in paper, you could just staple it and it would be fine. And then you've got a great place to write more notes for yourself. So it's a great little, I think they're great. I'm sounding really vain here. It's a handy little remember of what's in the video, so you don't necessarily have to rewatch the video every time you sit down. One of the things that I learned over time with students is that this is fresh in my mind because I do it all the time. But if you play with your big shot today and then you come back in 2 weeks, it's kind of all new all over again. So I'm trying to I have tried to put information that won't make it so new or so confusing. Okay, so that's the Whisper. Let's talk about this incredible bundle. I think it's so cool. So what you're going to get is, if you purchase this, you have the stamp set. Remember, bundles are going away at the end of May. Some of the items are still going to be available, but they'll be separate. So you won't be able to save the 10% that you can now when you buy a bundle. So if you purchase a bundle, the price is 10% less than what it would be if you bought them separate. But many of the bundles in the current catalog are going away at the end of May. So if you saw something that you've been thinking about or loving, you probably want to grab it before. You can still get it, but it'll just be more. Okay, so we get the stamp set that coordinates, and we'll talk about that. And then you get these framelits. And they all look pretty interesting, but we're not exactly sure what they do. So let's kind of take it all apart. At first, when I saw it, I thought this was all connected, and I couldn't quite understand. It's not. This is what, this piece makes the box. You actually need 2 of these. This, and this, those are 3 decorative pieces, and they fit the top of your box, which looks like this. These 3 go on the side, and that's what they're calling your windows. These are the windows. Then we also have this, which is this cute little oval tag that fits perfect with these. Oh, there's kind of a glare for you guys, I'm sorry. With this stamp set, the Open Me and the Made With, the cupcake and the flower all go in that tag. Perfect. And then there's this little doojiggy that looks like a crazy piece, but in reality, what this does is it makes this really cute standy-uppy label that fits Thinking of You or Make a Wish, and we'll do that too, okay? So that's what you get in the cutting part. All right, so let's get started and see what we can do. Let me move you guys over here. First thing you're going to do is build a box, and I recommend just starting with some Whisper White and just build the box so you figure out what it does. So you start with your big shot. The box itself does not need the precision base plate. This works really well with these. Oh, that glare, that's from the sun being in the window. From these, I guess I have to close it. I kind of like it. Maybe we'll bring over the curtain, see if that helps. I don't do daytime that often, so it's weird in here. The lighting is all different. So the precision plate works great for dies like this, and this, and this, and this. So we'll use it for those, but we don't need it to cut the box. So to cut your box, you're going to need a piece that's 6 by 11, just a plain, and you can get both pieces out of one. Clearly, you're going to have to run it through twice. So I'm using the magnetic platform. Remember, the sandwich that I want for this, for a thin die, is a base, the glass plate. It's not glass, but it's clear. And then I'm going to want the top one. And in between, I'm going to put my, just have to make a little room for myself here. I'm going to put my cardstock, and then my die, make sure I have the cut side down. And you can feel what is raised up. It's all smooth on the other side. And I'm going to position this so it just fits. Now, because it's got the magnet base, it snaps into place and it stays right there. I don't have to worry about it. Put my cover on and roll it on through. Just need to keep you in place. I wish you could see what I'm doing. Right in front of, like right here is the camera. So I'm like hugging the tripod. But it works. You can see what we're doing. All right, we don't need to come back, but I'm doing that. Sometimes you'll find some that are really tough to get through, not on this cardstock. And I take you out. There's one. Now I need to do two. So flip that over. Whoops. And you're going to go this way. Scoochie that in. With the magnet, though, it's really easy to hold this. And remember, that's my deal for you for the month of May. If you don't already have a Big Shot and you order it from my Stampin' Up site, I will send you as a free gift the magnetic platform from me, because I think it's the coolest thing since sliced bread. I love it. Okay, so there we go. We have our two pieces of our box. Okay, let's move you out of the way here. So now I have the two pieces. First thing I'm going to do is I don't need, and they're identical, right? I don't need the little tab on either side of this to assemble it. Bring this down a little, see if that works better and has less glare. So I'm going to just trim those off right on the score line. And this is in your Whisper, all these details. So that's, I don't need those. So now I have two pieces, one with tags, one without. Okay? Next thing I'm going to do is fold on all my score lines. And the beauty of this die is it gives you all your score lines. Oh, I'm too far away now. My arms aren't that long. Okay. Fold them in. I recommend after you do this with your hand that you then grab your bone folder, because you want good creases. You want them nice and straight. So there's 3 on the top. And this is the top of the box and the bottom of the box. And it just takes a little bit. Now, what are you going to do to hold this together? There's some options. I am loving this one, the fine tip glue pen. Let me get it. Golly, what is that glare? Come on, you can do it, little machine. And I'll show you how this works in a minute. You can also use your tear tape. That works too. You can use the Tombow glue, the green tip white glue. You can use that. I would not use snail. I guess maybe the fuse, but I feel like that, you want this to really hold together. So you want a liquidy kind of thing that's going to do it better. Hold on one sec. I'm going to try something because I feel like this glare is annoying to me. Maybe not to you guys, but it is to me. The sun's coming out now. Let's see if that works better. Yep, it does. Okay. And I'm working on these. It's really nice to have the window open in the sunshine, but not when you guys are trying to look at white paper. That does not work well. Get these all folded. Now, clearly, this can be out of whatever color you want. I recommend that you do the first one out of just a nice plain old cardstock so that you get an idea of what you're doing. All right, there's a cup. Now I'm folded. Now I'm good. I'm ready to assemble. All right. This is the glue I was saying that I really like. When you get it, you have to put this in, but there's this itty bitty little needle. And so it keeps this tip open all the time. And it's it's literally fine tip. I love it. It doesn't get all over. You know I don't like getting messy, so this works really well. All right, you get a couple of choices here. Oops, I see 2 more tabs I didn't fold. All right, you can assemble it and just go around, but if I were to just put them together like this, I'm going to have a box with 2 tops, right? I need to flip them. So this is how they're going to go together. It looks like a math problem, I know. But this is the top and this is the bottom, or vice versa. But to get your box to go together and have tops and bottoms, you need to flip one. Remember that detail. That's important later. Okay, so we are ready to assemble. We can do it a couple of different ways. You can start at the bottom, and that's the way I did it the first time. I built the bottom, and then I added the top. And that's what the pictures look like in the Whisper. I'm going to try it a different method live to see what we think, which ones we like better. So I'm going to flip you guys, make sure I have you set, and I'm going to assemble this. So I'm going to put my glue along here. Hold on, I just want to get this so it's where I am. There. Put my glue along here. And attach to the inside, lining up. Line up the edge. There, line up the edge. Okay. So there's that part of my box. Hold on, I need a wipe because I'm getting glue all over me. All right, and now I'm going to bring the other piece around, and I will have made my box with just the top and the bottom to assemble, okay? I kind of like this way a little bit better, but it really depends on you. And you don't need a lot of this. And seriously, even though this is annoying, this is the tricky part. If you don't get this part straight, you're going to be really unhappy later. So make sure that your box goes together the way you want it. Nice and straight. Okay, then I'm ready to do this. And I'm going to glue here and here and here. Now this first box doesn't have any decorations. This is just the way it is. Just because I think it's important to figure out how this goes together so you can figure out where you want things. So when you open this up, you get glue all over your hand, but glue you down and glue you down. I need a little bit more glue right here. And I can just tuck it in. It does dry pretty quick. Yeah, it's pretty much dry. And it dries clear too, which is forgiving. But yeah, it's pretty much dry now. All right, so there's my box. Let me just get my hands unsticky so I don't get it all over the outside. And now we're ready to see how the box actually looks. Put you back in there. This is the hardest part, because it's really teeny. There. Especially when you have my eyes, it's really teeny. Okay, so now this is it, boxes together, because you want the top to open and close to put your gift in, okay? So now we get to figure out, okay, well, what are we going to do with all these other cool pieces? How are we going to use those? All right, the one that I keep going to because I just love it is this piece. And you can do this in a couple of different ways. I could have done it with the box piece before I actually put it together. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to cut the box out again, only this time, before we assemble it, we're going to put the pieces in it. We're going to cut and make our windows. Okay, anybody have any questions on how that box went together? It really is easy. It looks crazy complicated. Coming from a Cricut world, I actually think it's easier than doing it than I used to have with my Cricut boxes because the score lines are really good. Whoops. Oh, I have you. So, magnetic plate, clear base, the clear sandwich part, clear plate. This down. Make sure you're where you want it. Now your top. Crank her through. Take you off, slide you back. There's one box. And now we're ready for box two. Now, something I want you to think about. In order to get the two boxes out of this one piece, I'm actually flipping it the other way, right? This is 6 by 11. And if I try to do it this way, well, I guess I could get it barely. I'd miss a tab or it wouldn't quite fit, right? But that is good news, because if the paper was a pattern paper, this one actually has the itty bitty words on it, it's still going to make it make sense because I have to flip it when I assemble. So one is the top of the box, one is the bottom. So even though I'm flipping it to put it and cut it, it's good because then it's actually going to come out with the paper going the right direction when I put it together. I'm sure they thought of that. I just realized it and went, oh, that's cool. I didn't think that that was thought through, but you know, I'm not the person that makes these crazy dies because I can't think that far ahead. So 2 boxes now. Now though, what I'm going to think about is where's the top, where's the bottom, what do I want to do? If I decide that I want to put, oh, and this is double-sided, so I could do either way. I think I'm probably going to do the polka dots on the outside. So I have this option on the top. I can do this, which is kind of cool. And then so this could be like a basket, and then we could build flowers over here. I could do, here's the other one, this one. And then there's that really great, I don't have it. There's a really great fruit one or farm stamp. We should go look. I don't have all the really cool ones yet. I'm gathering. But you could fill this. Remember the bunnies that we had in Paper Pumpkin that went on the little bags? They could come out of the basket. So lots of things, lots of ideas that you could do with these. You can either, I think this is the one that cuts through though, that looks super cute. So this is the one I'm going to use first. I have to stop and think though. I want it to go through and I want to make sure that I line it up exactly where I want it so that it's even. The magnet, super helpful, but I'm going to add the precision base so that you can see what that does. What the precision base is, it's an option. Mine's really beat up. It's kind of a foamy, it's not really foam. It's softer than this side, I guess. It's hard to describe if you don't have it. But what it lets happen is it lets the die squish in a little bit more than if it was a solid piece. So it gives it a little more detail. So to do that, I'm going to pop that in. Take out the clear, put you in. Now it kind of snaps to the magnet, so you have to work at it a little bit. Put you down. It doesn't really matter which way you go necessarily. And then I add you. And now, if I take this off and I grab this little brush, which I think is the coolest thing ever, and run it over. If you're doing it on some of the pattern paper like this, it kind of protects the paper a little to do it over the top of the die instead of just on the paper. You can do it on the paper too, but doing it this way protects the die, protects the paper a little bit so you don't scratch it up. And there's my box. Now, when I go to fold this though, and you look, you can see down in, and maybe I don't want to see it through there, right? Maybe I want a solid piece back here. Well, you could do this kind of, you know, maneuvering. You could put the piece there and kind of hope that you have it in place, you know, kind of deal. Or, I'll show you what else you can do. What I like about that foam thing is it just goes right in the trash too. It doesn't get all over the desk. That's handy. I'm going to pop you back out. It sticks really hard to the magnet. Magnet's kind of strong. All right, back to my glass plate. And I'm going to take a piece of white. I could do anything, but I'm going to use the white. And let me show you what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to go back to my box, only this time I want just the top piece, right? And I'm going to line this up like this, and if I get it right in the middle, we're good. And slide you through again. And then I have this piece like this. And if you look close, you can see the score lines. I'm going to trim right along those score lines like we did when we cut the tabs off. Just to the inside of that score line. You can use your trimmer if you don't think you can cut straight, but you have a nice line to cut on. And then it's going to fit right inside the piece that I've now lost. Here it is. And this is going to pop inside here. Make sure you turn it the right way. Right? But what about if I took this and I got some of my watercolor pencils, and you know how we did the watercolor with Paper Pumpkin this month? If you didn't, it's okay. I'll show you. You're going to take your piece and you're going to grab your pencils And you're just going to put some color down, not a lot. See, I'm going to use pink and green, maybe a little yellow. I'm going to look at this and kind of get a sense of where I want my color. And I'm going to do a little bit of yellow. I tend to lay and use the side of the pencil, a little bit of yellow. And again, it's not the end of the world. Oops, I should have my tile sometimes messes me up on my table. I love it, but it's not a smooth surface. So I use my piercing pad. Hey, Janet, welcome. And I'm laying down some green. Maybe a little more yellow in between. And a little bit of pink. Now, I could do it just like that, and I can pop it in here, and you get kind of a rainbow effect. But if I take my blending pen and I go over these, first of all, it brings the color right out, really highlights it, and it gets rid of the lines. And I kind of like that they go over each other. It's really pretty easy, right? And now when I add you in there, you get just the hint of the color, but it really changes the whole look. What if I use darker colors? I didn't do the pastels, and I went with a purple and a blue. Again, the more you color, the deeper the color. The more you go over it, just like when you were little. More pressure gives you a darker color. I am such a fan of these pencils. And I'm going to grab my, if I were doing this with watercolor paper, I would use the blender pen. This, don't tell any Stampin' Up people, this is an old close to my heart one. Sorry. That's like sacrilegious. That's like Coke in a Pepsi commercial. I know, but my Aqua Painters aren't here yet. Does the same deal. And it adds water. But see, it's more wet. Elena asked me this last night on Facebook. What's the difference between the Aqua Painter and the blender? The Aqua Painter makes your paper more wet because it's, well, water. But it works. It does a different look. It gives it a little bit more. It works better with watercolor paper than Whisper White, because you can get more dimension with it and more smearing, if that's such a word. It's a watercolor word. But let's see what this looks like. Kind of an interesting, and I could really like do more than just stripes. I could do circles, lots of stuff you could do underneath here, okay? All right, so that's one. This is the top of the box now, clearly. So this is going to be the bottom of the box. Well, remember how we put these together? We needed to take the tabs off, so we're still going to do that. Little tougher to see with pattern paper, but you're going to take off the tabs on just one of these boxes. And then you're going to get all your folding done along the score lines. And now we get to think about what are we going to do for our windows into the side of the box. Now, again, you can do this two different ways, or probably hundreds of ways. I'm going to show you two. You can put the holes directly in the box like we did the cover. And if I were going to do that, I have to think about it a little bit. Hey, Kim, welcome. All right, remember, when you're putting this box together, one is this way, one is this way, because you want your top and your bottom, right? So that means if I'm going to punch holes in the side of the box, I need to make sure on some of these that they're going to go the right direction. So the candles, if for example, I was going to use the birthday candles, if I put them all this way, they'd be upside down when I put my box together, okay? So on the candles, it really matters. On the candles, and if you want birthday candles along the whole outside of the box, you could do that. It only matters if you're punching it into the box. If you're just going to do these on the side, on just a piece of paper, clearly you can flip them the way you want them. So these are your choices of what to do with these. Well, or you don't have to do anything. But if you want to do these, again, use your little handy dandy brush. I swear, I don't know how I can lose things in such a small space, but I can. Candles. Now notice it doesn't cut them out. So if I want them cut out, I'm going to have to do the same idea that we did with the top of the box. Let me find where's my box file. And I'm going to have to line this up with the center in the box, right? And I can do that just like that. If I don't want to waste this piece of paper, I can trim it first. But there's no measuring, there's no craziness about, you don't have to worry. Line it up like that. It's on the magnet, so it's going to stay right where I want it. See why I love that magnetic plate? And I run you through. And I'm just going to come back because I didn't need to go that far. And now I have nice little lines to just cut right along, so I know exactly where it fits. See the score lines? You probably can't see them, but I can. And then when I line it up along here, I'm good to go. Something else I want to show you, which was not in the list of supplies for this class, but I've been talking about them ad nauseum, is those stitched framelits. I can't believe they're not on my desk. I actually put them away. Oh, I'm coming. And if you grab one of those squares, it's the littlest one. Okay, let's try this again. First, let's do the one with the little holes. All right, now yes, you could be using the precision mat with this, the precision plate. What that does is it gives it a little bit more, it punches it through a little bit better. We can actually experiment with it and see. I'm going to do it this way first. Now, let's see what happens. Looky there. I only have to run this through once if I do it like that. So I'm not crazy when I tell you that you will use these stitched framelits a gazillion times. You seriously will. I have ordered every single one that they make because I think it's the coolest thing that I've ever had. Look what this does. Can you see the stitching? Come on, zoom in there thing. Can you see it? Come on, come on, come on. You can, I know. So the edge looks so much cooler than this one that I cut by hand. This really looks like I've actually stitched it. And then when I go to put it on here, oh my gosh, it's so cool, right? Love, love, love them. So these are the stitched framelits. If you haven't gotten sick of me talking about them yet, they are 145372. I turn to these every single time I do something because it just finishes what you're doing and gives you this incredibly elegant instead of just cut edges. Okay, I'll stop talking about them for a minute. Okay, so here's what we could do. We could do it on this, or we can do it like this on the outside. Let me do the heart one now because we haven't done, that's the one we haven't done yet. And I have to stop and think, what is the direction of my box? Now in this case, this is the top of the box, so it's pretty easy. On this one, it's a little trickier. I have to stop and think. It goes this way. This is the bottom of my box. So I want this heart in the middle to be the right way. If I don't think about that and I just, all right, let's just put this in here, slap that puppy down, I could end up with the hearts being upside down. So you have to think a little. This is kind of like, I always relate it to sewing because I haven't done it in years. But when you were trying to put a sleeve in a jacket, it took forever to try and figure out exactly what you were trying to do. So it didn't end up backwards. If you ever put a sleeve in anything, you'll know exactly what I mean. If you didn't, you just trust me. This is the bottom. I want the heart pointing down to the bottom. So I'm going to line you up there. Get it where I want it. Make sure it's in the middle. The magnet will hold it right where you want it. And then run her on through. Oh, I didn't need to. They all just popped out. These little ones are pretty easy. And there I have the little hearts. Now the same kind of thing, if you wanted to put something on the inside, I don't think that's big enough. Are you big enough? You could do this little, oh, okay, let me cut there. You could do that. Or, you could grab your little stitch thinlits, pop that on there, run it through. I have to tell you that the whole big shot theory works way better for me. As long as, even though I spend a lot of time with Cricut, it works better for my thinking than Cricut. Oh, I used the too small one. Because I don't always design everything while I'm doing it. I'm a lot of, oh, I wanna, and if I were doing Cricut, I'd have to go back in and do it, as many of you watched me do. I would say, oh, I gotta go do that again because, so this lets me do that. Clearly I grabbed the wrong, it's not the smallest square, it's the next to the smallest. Are you right? You're right. I think that paper is just a whisker too small. Now I have the white. I also have this leftover that I could use. Watch what I can do with this. That's my leftover piece. I don't need all this getting caught in here. Right? And then pop you on. And then I have this little piece that's going to go on the inside of my box. Now, if I show through the polka dots, it doesn't really show all that dramatically, but if I show through the other side, and the color's pretty similar. I guess I would want the white. But anywho, you could also use vellum, and then you could see kind of gauzy through, but not really. Depends on what you have in the box. But isn't that, it's just so delicate and so pretty. I love those little hearts. All right, so now we've got this ready. You could decide you could do every other, right? Vellum would be awesome. You could do every other and go around the box. You could do every single one of these. It's completely up to you as you design and put it together. And I'm not going to put this one together because I want to show you the stamping, and we haven't gotten to that yet. But, oh, yes, I will, because those of you that might not have seen me do it the first time, we'll do it. I will. So when you go to assemble these little puppies, you're thinking, okay, box. Nope. Remember, you want to go this way. Ooh, that's good, Shelley. Acetate with a stamp design on it. That would look really cool. You want to have the top of the box and the bottom. It's actually a lot easier when you've actually put something in that. And you're going to attach this tab to the side with no tab on the inside. All right. Making sure that you have folded on the score line, not just randomly anywhere your little heart desired. And I talked to you about this being my favorite glue. It is awesome. If you are somebody who doesn't like to get messy, and you know I complain about that all the time, you don't get that much glue on you. I can still get messy with this, but it's not bad. It's a super fine tip. It doesn't clog because of the way the bottle is designed. I really, really like it. It was one of the first adhesives I bought. Make sure that you line up the edge. This is probably the trickiest part, to make sure that your box is going to fold right. And as you can see, it dries pretty quick. I need a little bit more on this side. What's nice is it's got that tiny little tip. I can just tuck it in. It dries clear, so it saves you. I love watching videos of people doing this, and they're so neat. Yeah, that's not me. I try to be, but. And then line you up. It's a little forgiving. It gives you a minute to move it if it's not quite perfect. And then the bottom of the box, and I'm going to glue here, here, and here. 3 tabs. This paper is a little more wobbly than the Whisper White. And remember, you could use the thick Whisper White if your boxes are going to hold something heavy duty. I don't know what that would be, but you tuck that in, and then you just go inside and press it down. And bring this in, press it down, and then I've got to go glue my other two tabs. Okay, and then there's your top. This is kind of wobbly, but once I put inside that piece I cut for the inside, and then I watercolored on, that's going to give it more stability, and it's not going to be so wobbly. And this can go in either with that glue, making sure, you have to make sure that you get it in the right direction. There it is. You can do a couple different things. These are going to tuck in, so you could fold those over and glue those down. The lid's not going to have those tucking pieces later, but it would hold this in place, or you just glue it along the edges. Now, what if I didn't cut through the box itself and I just did things that went on the outside? This is just that piece. I trimmed around where the cut was, And now I can put that on the top of it. So I could make just a plain box and go ahead and decorate the outside. And I can decorate these with using my stitched framelits or using both. Lots of options of what to do with the outside. Now let's talk about the stamp set. The stamp set is designed to fit perfectly on all the spaces. So the stamp set comes, and this is the red rubber. Remember, this comes with the foam already attached to it. So when you're stamping, it's not as critical that you use the piercing pad. At my house it is, because my counter is tile, so it's not super smooth. I've thought about, and I would really like to, and maybe it'll happen this year, I'd like to put a glass top on here, and then I could still see the gorgeous tiles that I love. But, or maybe even just a section that I could move. I have a ceramic tile I was going to bring in. But anywho, lots of options. I haven't figured it out yet. Worked great with a Cricut, but it needs a little modification with stamping because I need a smooth surface. So these two are designed to fit right on the side of the box. So I could stamp. Okay, think about stamping, but heat embossing with gold polka dots around the outside, right? Or silver or copper. Super, super cool. Do it before you put it together, way easier. The flowers, we use these flowers. Remember, we heat embossed with these because I love the detail of those flowers. It looks super cool doing that as well. Now, this one that I've used on lots of cards says, "Thanks for being a great friend," is designed to fit right on the top of the box. So is "Happy Birthday." A couple of different ideas. You could just cut that piece, stamp, decorate, and put on the top of the box. Or you could do it right on the cover. So since this box is already together, I'm going to do it like this. And I need to grab me a block. Oh, and I want to show you the new colors. I have to grab another box because I don't have them out yet. We only get to see 3 of them in the Eastern Palace Suite. And remember, that's coming out May 1st. And there's 2 different bundles. You'll get an email from me that tells you what they are, but first we have Fresh Fig, which is just so rich and elegant. And I bet if you knew me, you're thinking, oh, she's going to really, really like the Tranquil Tide. Yeah, I'm actually falling in love with this lemon lime twist. It just seems so springy and bright and exciting. I really do like it, and I would not have thought. My sister had a car this color when she was in high school, and I thought it was the ugliest car ever. I think I was just jealous because she had a car and I didn't. I don't think it had anything to do with the color. I haven't used the Happy Birthday yet, so let's use Happy Birthday. It was back in the day where you had to make choices. Well, at least in our family, you had to make choices. I had a choice that I could have a car or I could live at college. So I could have been a commuter and had a car, or I could live in the dorm, and I chose to live in the dorm. So I didn't get the car. And she had a car this color. It was her favorite. So this is the Lemon Lime Twist. And it's going to go right on here. Now you have to kind of think about this. The problem with doing it after the box is assembled is it kind of limits how far you can go with the block getting in your way. But let's just go for it. There's our Happy Birthday. And then I can go with my candles around the outside. I love that color. It really is cool. How about taking this and using, and again, I promised you when I said I was going to teach these classes that they would make sense. And I would make sure that what we bought for the one class, you didn't use it just in one class. This is from the Bunch of Blossoms, which is my kit that I've put together for you. That comes, you have to order that by Sunday. It doesn't come with this. I'm going to punch a gazillion of these for you, so it isn't so expensive. But these, you could build flowers with this. If you fall in love, you can buy the punch later. But I wanted to keep the kit inexpensive, relatively. So anywho, this Bunch of Blossoms would make some really great 3D flowers to go on the top. You could also use, what else do we have that we could use? The swirly bird, which is in the kit we're doing on Monday. Those would fit really well on top. And I'm sure you have more options, but I'm going with what I have encouraged you to purchase. So we've got, this is the swirly bird card. These little guys would look so cute on the top of here. They would also fit around each side. Okay. All right. So the one other thing I need to show you, and oh, I just did it. I keep doing that. This went in the trash. Good thing my trash isn't full today. I have the best husband in the world who takes care of my scrap box for me. Okay, so let's talk about this funky little weird piece. I have the worst time doing this. Bifocals and me. Okay, put you away. That funky little weird piece that we were like, what the heck is that? Is that like a piece of scrap, or does that do something? It actually does do something. Let me get in here. But it's gone forever, so it's going to take me a minute to find it. Anyone see it? It's like a search. Huh. Nope, it's really gone. It's not. We'll find it. I'm not giving up yet. Give me a minute. We'll pick up a few things and see if we find it. If anyone sees it on the desk, you have to call out and let me know. Look left. Okay. You guys are funny. Let's move you. And you. You're probably absolutely right. Yep, you are. Good job, you guys. Thank you. Okay, so, and this sizing is in the Whisper, but you need to cut a strip 7/8 by 5.5, I think. You need that little strip. Then you need to bring the big shot. I'm thinking that I should have made my desk black, but maybe not. Maybe I would find things easier. Okay, so I have this little piece, right? Oh, goodness, I lost the thing already. All right, you got to do the search again. Honestly, I need more coffee or something. Oh. Okay, if you look closely at this, you'll see it has score lines, 2 little score lines, and a cutting piece. So I'm going to set this up on the end. You have to cut it, do it twice. You have to run it through once and then come back and run it through again. So line that up nice and straight. And run it through. You notice that you don't have to get these perfectly even every time. It's really okay. If you don't have it all the way down, it doesn't matter. Okay, so see what it did? That's one end. Now, and can you see the score lines right here? See them? Okay, so now this piece, I'm going to do it going this way because I think it didn't like being right on the edge. I think was a little trickier for it because it kind of popped out. Mr. Magnet, stop doing that. Line up. Okay. Okay, so now I have two, and I'm going to fold it in and back. And I'm going to fold you in and back. And now I have a dimensional piece that will stamp like this. And if I take the thinking of you, I'll grab you. This is chocolate chip. And line you up. And then when I fold you without smearing, this will fit right on the top of the box. Cute, right? So let's bring that over to this one. And you can go, see, it doesn't work so well if you have the text because you're covering it up. But it looks super cute on this one. Right? Love it. All right. Anybody have any questions about what we did so far today? What we've gone through? We have been through all the pieces. Oh, no. We didn't do the tag. So the tag fits these super cute little, these itty bitty pieces over here. Fit right on the tag. Couple different things you can do. So this one says made with, and it's the heart. So this would be great on the one with the heart if you want to keep your, if you're a matchy person and want to keep your themes all the same. Remember when you first take these stamps out, they come with a sticky back. In theory, what you're supposed to do is peel these off and you put it on the back, all right, like this. This is what you're supposed to do. And then you set this right here. And then you have a decal that tells you what's on your stamp, right? But it doesn't stick as well to the glass. So if you do that, I need to take these pieces off. If you do this, then you're going to want to take, it does help you tell what your stamp says. It does make that easier. If you do this, then you're going to want to take repositionable glue and just go over the top of this. But that does make your stamps easier to read. I don't do it and I just look at my stamp because I find it annoying that they don't stick together. They don't stick to the block. But it's up to you. That's how they were designed by people that probably know more about this than I do. And I need ink. And I'm going to stamp you right here. And then I'm going to put you away so I don't get icky. Move you over here. Bring you back. Remember, I have the glass. So, magnetic platform, the clear one, and then I can see exactly where I want it, and it's going to stay right there. And now I have my tag ready to hang on the bag, on the box, I mean. So now I have thinking of you, a little tag to hang, if I get my hand out of the way, a little tag to hang off the side with your twine, and you are good to go. And you've made the cutest little gift box. It's probably even better than what's in the box. There are, if you look in the Whisper, let me go back to that for a minute too. If you look in the Whisper, on the last page, I have included a link to a Pinterest page that I put together with incredible artistic, amazing things. So cool. So I want you to use that. The link is at the bottom of Whisper. It's on my Pinterest page. Let me get there. I have a lot of things on my screen right now. It is going to be under my boards. You have the direct link to it. You have to go crazy to find that. It says Box Class Inspiration. So see, this is used, let's look through a couple. This is done where you just use the eye. This one in the middle of the card, right? This one, they know what they're doing. It's around that side. This is pretty cool. It looks like it's wood. It's done with, there's a background stamp that gives you the wood grain look. I love that for Father's Day. Really cool. This is too. They're all great. This is done with our silver paper. We also have the gold. It's really heavy duty, so it would make a good sturdy box. So, anywho, go check out that Pinterest page, see what you think. And we are good. Anybody have any questions? Something that I didn't do that you wish I did, that I didn't tell you about? You're in my closet right now. Let me see if I can, it's really messy because I've been tearing things out of it, but this is how I've got my Stampin' Up stuff set up behind me. It's literally right there. So I can work at my desk and then just turn around into the cupboard. I pulled the countertop is pulled closer to it, but there's still room for me. And it's great because I can get to everything.